coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight on this Sunday, August 14th. Alex Jones is coming up in the next segment with Max Keiser. We were just talking about what's going on in Ferguson, about how they're trying to get a different prosecuting attorney because the current prosecuting attorney has had some questionable mishandling, I would say, of a previous police shooting. As I was just talking about, 3 officers testified that a car was moving towards 2 officers who fired and killed the people in the car, yet 13 officers testified. None of the others said the car was moving forward. They did find that the car was actually in reverse. Out of the 3 who said that it was moving forward, 2 of them were the ones who were doing the shooting, and the third was later, as the prosecutor said, suspected of perjury and other things that he was saying. So there's been a troubled history there. There's also an interesting case back in 2009 titled "The Day Ferguson Cops Were Caught in a Bloody Lie." This is from the Daily Beast, and they're talking about a guy who was essentially traveling through the area. He was pulled by the police. He had the same name as someone that they were looking for, but he had a different middle name, also a different social security number. They arrested him, even though he was the wrong person. They took him back to jail, and that's when the problem started. As they were putting him in a jail cell, it was early in the morning, and he was asking for a mattress, and they told him to get into the cell, and then they told him to get on the floor and to cover himself. And he said, I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you guys doing this to me? They said, just lay on the ground. At that point, all of these officers started kicking and beating him, and what they wound up doing was charging this fellow for destruction of property because he bled on their uniforms. You understand? They arrest this innocent black man who has a name that's similar, but they can't be bothered to check the middle name or the social security number. They think that he's somebody else that they're looking for. They arrest him, they beat him, and then they charge him with getting blood on their uniforms. That's what people are concerned about. What people are also concerned about is seeing the police double down as a militarized army coming against peaceful protesters who are upset because they believe that this Michael Brown last weekend was shot down as he didn't present a threat to the police at a point where he was no longer a threat to them. And of course, we've seen multiple accounts of this coming out. Some of the first reports came from a lady who had her video and audio that she recorded on her cell phone confiscated by the police. What she said was that he was running away from the police with his hands in the air. Now, the police said that they had gotten into an altercation. Of course, the altercation had nothing to do with the alleged shoplifting of a $50 box of cigars at a convenience store. It was all about a verbal altercation that he got into with a police officer when he was told to get out of the road. A struggle ensued as they began to arrest him. A shot went off, according to the police, in his car, and then he ran away. Now we have some information that has surfaced today from a video that was quite a long video, and nobody had noticed a conversation that was in the background. It was someone who was shooting the fellow who was, at that point, dead. Michael Brown was dead on the street. And as they were filming it and talking about it, there was a conversation that appeared to sound as if one person had seen Michael Brown turn and run at the officer, in which case there would be some justification for him shooting him. However, there has also surfaced another report, and this one is up on Infowars.com, a Twitter exchange that happened at the time of the shooting, right immediately after the shooting. A couple of people are tweeting each other, and one of the guys said he was shot from behind, and the other guy says the first 2 were from behind, the next 5 weren't because he turned around. This illustrates why they need to take this to a trial very speedily. There's no reason that this needs to take a very long time to resolve, and there is no reason when people are upset about this that the police should resort into full-out military confrontation mode against the demonstrators who are peaceful and against the press who is there to cover it. That's what's been happening this week. Now stay with us. Right after the break, we have Alex Jones and Max Keiser. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the survival silver solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage or your home kitchen. Purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com.
Los Angeles.
Again, thank you for joining us here on InfoWars Nightly News. It is August 15th, 2014, with continual coverage. We're taking over for Leanne McAdoo. I am your host, Max Kaiser.
Hello, I'm Alex Jones.
And we are the InfoWar. No, seriously, I'm Alex Jones. That's Max Kaiser. He's here visiting us as he spends time between London and New York City. He's down here working on a documentary film. And I got to say it, Max, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
I remember 5 years ago, when you first started promoting Bitcoin, you were an early guy to get in. You said it was going to become this really dominant cryptocurrency. And all these years later, it certainly has become that with WordPress.com, Overstock, Amazon, Target, CVS, Subway, Victoria's Secret. They're all accepting it. So now InfoWarsStore.com is accepting it. And we're even using a company you're involved with as well, the BitPay. And it's been very, very successful. People are excited about it. I've had my questions about it. I didn't want to be involved early, but the people have voted with their currencies going into Bitcoin. They've supported it. We now see houses selling for 1.6 million Bitcoins. It's becoming more and more successful. And as you said on my show 5, 6 years ago, whatever it was, I guess 2009, so I guess that's about 5 years ago, that it would give the private central banks a run for the money with their fiat currencies. Now, we had a caller in Overdrive at the end of the show today, and he was asking, what is your position in it? We want full disclosure on Max Kaiser. That was one question. The other one was, is it a currency, or really what is Bitcoin, and where do you seriously predict it will go? So Max Kaiser, 5 minutes on the Bitcoin revolution.
Well, as far as full disclosure goes, I've said from the beginning, going back to 2009, that I've been a buyer of Bitcoin. I've been buying Bitcoin ever since. Obviously, when it was $3 a Bitcoin, I ended up buying a very large position that I still hold, and I'm very happy I'm holding it. I haven't sold any of my Bitcoin except maybe a few here and there to do some retailing. But I think going forward, the price will continue to go higher, and what's driving the price of Bitcoin, in my opinion, are these financial crises. Remember, it was at $40 a Bitcoin when the banking crisis in Cyprus hit, and it suddenly jumped to 240. And that's really a great application for this crypto technology, is a store of value and safe haven during an era we live in now of banking scandals and banking crises. I think the next major bank to collapse, you'll see Bitcoin trade above 1,000 again and stay above 1,000. And I think it can trade a lot higher from there. Remember, it can be used as a currency, Alex, but it's also primarily its utility is to send money overseas on the internet for virtually no cost. And a great example of that would be somebody's trying to send a relative, let's say they're working in Britain and they want to send £100 to Africa. Well, if they go to an established money wire transfer service like Western Union to send £100, they're going to charge them up to £10. Whereas if you're using Bitcoin to make that transaction, your cost will be virtually zero. And for somebody on the other end of that transaction to save $10 on a transaction like that is very, very meaningful because they don't make any money.
So we know why the big banks and Western Union are so angry about this, because I've noticed with things like Bitcoin coming in now, it's been driving down the rates that, in my opinion, these loan sharking institutions are unable to charge anymore. So that really is something positive.
It's pro-competition. It's something new, and it makes all of these other entrenched oligopolies, as we call them, stand up, take notice, and either lower their prices to compete or go out of business. So we like competition. I'm pro-competition, free markets and competition. Bitcoin is free market competition in the area of currencies. And it's being adopted around the world. BitPay, as you mentioned, is a company that was the first to offer Bitcoin transactions. They're signing up tens of thousands of merchants all over the world. Hundreds of thousands of merchants accept it now. InfoWars accept it. And just to be clear, people can show up at your store. They can use Bitcoin to buy stuff, and you can instantaneously put that into dollars. You're not holding Bitcoin. You don't have to. You could, but you don't have to hold Bitcoin. You're just using it as a medium of exchange, and you're passing the savings on to your customers. So the customers that would be charged for the credit card transaction or some other means to use your store, those costs are being eliminated. They're being cut by 95% or more. That savings goes right into the pocket of people buying the T-shirts and everything else.
This is a true revolution, and even if Bitcoin itself isn't perfect and has some problems, in my uninformed view, just as a novice looking at it from the outside, it is spurring a revolution of other cryptocurrencies, and now it's creating whole new economies around servicing it that is creating jobs. And I like to liken it to Uber, that started around the same time as Bitcoin with the apps. And I'll hardly even get a cab in Austin to the airport, or if I got to pick my car up at the shop, because they usually show up 30, 40 minutes after they're supposed to. They're rude. I mean, on average, cabs are nightmares in Austin. They're better in some other cities I've been in. But when I use Uber, it's quick, it's clean. I can track the app in live time as they pull up to get me. And are the cabbies around the world trying, in most cases, to, if you can't beat them, join them with their own apps and service? No, no, no. They're trying to shut it down. And I see a parallel between Uber and Bitcoin. And when I see the system trying to crush it and failing over and over again with these artificial crashes, but it bounces back up, that tells me more and more that Bitcoin really could be a winner. But regardless, we can't let them shoot down the idea of independent ways to exchange money and credit and currencies. So again, I salute you for being a trailblazer, Max.
Well, I think the comparison to Uber is a good one. They did come around at about the same time. The words used in the technology space would be disintermediation or disruptive. And in the case of Uber, they are going to put some cab drivers out of business. But, you know, somebody said something I thought was very good. They said the reason the Stone Age ended is not because they ran out of stones. Meaning that when technological advances come along, they tend to completely write over the current system with a new paradigm, a new system. Uber's an example, and Bitcoin is another example. All of the ways of doing business in the markets and in the banking sector are being reinvented and re-realized using cryptocurrencies, the open ledger. And there are other cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin. Bitcoin has by far the biggest share of the market, but there are specific coins that do specific things. I created a new coin called StartCoin, which is specifically for my crowdfunding platform, StartJoin. You know, I used to be very big in technology until 9/11 more or less wiped out my company. So I've been quiet in the technology space for a number of years, but now I'm back with something that I think is equally compelling as the stuff that I was doing in the 90s. Crowdfunding meets cryptocurrency. We've got a fantastic project taking a stab at some of the mainstream media in America with a billboard campaign trying to raise $7,000 to take out a billboard that says, you know, Sean Hannity is an idiot. Okay, it's not the most elegant campaign in the world, but it is a bit of fun. It's being crowdfunded. People are raising $5, $10.
I heard a guy raised tens of thousands for potato salad.
Well, in another crowdfunding company, somebody listed that they were looking to raise $10 or something for a potato salad, but it caught fire as a meme on the internet, and they raised $50,000. And that's what happens when you mix finance with the social networking and the meme potential or the viral aspect of the internet.
It's almost the opposite of the stagnation of the ruling technocrats throughout history. It really introduces lightning into the whole equation. That's my concern. I want to go to break, and I want to come back and talk about world events with Max Keiser at maxkeiser.com. I want to talk about what I see as more and more of an elite that believes they have a political system and believes they're in